The Samsung Galaxy S8 Active is Samsung's latest in its active lineup of rugged, high-powered smartphones. And the just-released Samsung Galaxy Note 8 is the newest in Samsung's Note series, which houses some of today's biggest, most powerful smartphones. What are the main differences between the devices? Which is faster? Which is more powerful? What should you buy? All that and much more is coming right up. Starting things off with pricing and availability, the Galaxy S8 Active will cost you $849 for the 64GB version, and it is an AT&T exclusive. The Galaxy Note 8 is supported on all the major carriers and will cost you about $949 for the base 64GB version. However, the Note 8 does come in 128 and 256GB variants as well. One thing to keep in mind though, if you're planning to purchase one of these two, is that they both have expandable storage and support MicroSD cards up to 256GB, so I'll have some links to those in the description. In terms of color options, the S8 Active can be bought in titanium gold or meteor gray, and of course the one here is the gold variant. And the Note 8 on the other hand comes in midnight black, deep sea blue, orchid gray, and maple gold. Physically, the Samsung Galaxy S8 Active is a nice change of pace from the all-glass phones that we see today. It has a true industrial feel to it with the rubberized corners around the edges that are sure to bear the brunt of a drop. And while most rugged phones will be overly hefty, thick, and aesthetically unpleasing, I'm actually enjoying the heavier phone. At 7.34 ounces or 208 grams, the Galaxy S8 Active feels tough and uncompromising in its form. And if there's a spectrum from rugged to fragile, the Note 8 and S8 Active are for sure on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. The Note 8's glass front and back melt into its ultra-thin metal frame, and aesthetically, Samsung's glass and metal design looks like something from the future. However, in everyday use, I can't imagine carrying this phone around without a case. Just imagine the device slipping out of your hand from 6 feet up while on a phone call. Yeah, that's not a pretty sight. So if you reach the end of this video and decide that the Note 8 is the phone for you, I'll also have some cases linked in the description for you all to check out. Despite the two phones being polar opposites as far as the design goes, the Note 8, like the S8 Active, is actually IP68 certified, which means it's both dust and water resistant. It essentially means that they should both sustain up to 30 minutes submerged in 1 meter deep water. And with this IP68 certification comes poor speaker quality though, so keep that in mind. Physically, it's clear to me that the Note 8 looks much better than the S8 Active, but the Active is definitely far more durable. Moving over to the front of the Active, we'll find a beautiful 5.5-inch Super AMOLED 1440 by 2960 display. Side by side the Note 8's 6.3-inch display, you can see that both look absolutely amazing. And if you can't tell a difference between the two, it's actually because they are the exact same screen. The only difference you'll find on them though is that the S8 Active has a protective cover over the Gorilla Glass display to prevent dings, dents, and scratches. This feature of course is to target the outdoorsmen, construction workers, people who work with their hands, or anyone who wants a little bit more protection. When it comes to the Galaxy S8 Active and Note 8 software, they're almost identical. They both run the latest version of Android 7.1.1 and both phones are incredibly responsive and snappy. Where the difference lies is in the Galaxy Note 8's S Pen. The S Pen is found on the bottom of the device and you can access it by clicking on it. Taking the S Pen out of the phone while it's locked will open the Notes app where you can quickly jot down whatever you need. Taking out the S Pen when the screen is unlocked will allow you to open a couple of different apps such as the Notes, Smart Select, Screen Write, Live Message, Translate, and this is a very cool feature to show off to friends and family, but I haven't found much real-world use for it. And the same goes for a feature called Bixby, which is essentially Samsung's version of Siri or Alexa. You can check weather, do calculations, or open apps. It's certainly not revolutionary, but it is worth mentioning. Both the S8 Active and Note 8 have an iris scanner, facial recognition, and also fingerprint sensor as a method for unlocking your device. The fingerprint scanner is on the back of each of the phones, but I found that the positioning isn't so great. With the scanner so close to the camera, it's very easy to smudge the lens, and common to get a poor reading due to inaccurate finger placements. Next up, we're going to talk about camera performance. As most of you all already know, the S8 Active and Note 8 have probably the best cameras on the market. Its 12 megapixel rear shooter has Pro mode, which is manual, slow motion, panorama, food, hyperlapse, and more, and these are on both devices. So if you're looking for a phone that can take high quality photos, you can't go wrong with either one. And they both also have 4K video, so if that's something you're into, that's great as well. One difference between these two devices is the size. Both phones are pretty big, and it can be hard to tell because they're both right next to each other. However, you can see here that the Note 8 is taller, and has just about the same width as the S8 Active. If you don't have access to either one of these phones, I'd recommend going to your local carrier store, because the size of the Note 8 can certainly take some getting used to. Battery life is incredibly good on the S8 Active, and that's to be expected for a phone with a 4000 mAh battery. The Note 8 on the other hand has a 3300 mAh battery, which I initially was disappointed about. However, Samsung must have some insane optimizations going on because the battery is almost as good as the Actives, but it isn't as good. A battery test from GSM Arena found that the Note 8 got about 9 hours and 39 minutes of web browsing and 15 hours and 4 minutes of video playback, which isn't amazing, but it's decent considering it has a 3300 mAh battery. As always though, keep in mind that Samsung does have its fast charging feature on both of these phones, which can be incredibly helpful if you're in a crunch for time and low on battery. So despite looking so different externally, the Note 8 and S8 Active are very similar on paper. So, which one should you buy? I would say to look at the Note 8 and S8 Active's main features. The Notes is the S Pen and the S8 Actives is the rugged build. If neither of those are incredibly important, consider the battery life. From there, you may find that the Note 8's sleek lines and glass body make it a better fit for you, and others may enjoy the industrial look and feel of the Active, even if they don't work in construction or need the extra protection. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you all in the next one.